Hello, my name is Dayle Adams, and today I thought I would just speak a little bit about me. The reason being is I have three Pat Chats booked this afternoon, so people who know what they are. This is me, and I talk to people about planning ahead of time. So planning for our end of life, for post-death, what we want for ourselves, what we would want for our family, for our loved ones, and with this, I talk to people who work in end-of-life services, funeral directors, celebrants, end-of-life facilitators, anybody that works to help other people cope better with end of life, and to talk about dying, death, loss, and grief, all of which I personally feel is really important to help us understand that dying is actually part of life and living. And it can bring us some peace when we have actually made plans for ourselves, because it definitely brings peace when you know what people want when they die and that you can actually put their wishes into place. So I do what I call Pat Chats, planning ahead of time. Pat is also my mum's name, who died in August of last year. And I set up planning ahead of time in her name. And it used to be called Our Light Aside, which was actually related to somebody else who died of suicide, and it was all post-death. Whereas when my mum got dementia, I wanted to look at actually planning for the end of life as well as post-death. And planning ahead of time seemed to fit better than Our Light Inside with everything that I was doing. So today, I had business consultancy this morning until 1 o'clock. And then I had to get back from that company's offices, get my dogs walked, get something to eat. And then I had a Pat Chat, one at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 4 o'clock this afternoon. I do these Pat Chats for free. It's me wanting to help people understand. It's my way of giving back and trying to help build some end-of-life discussions. All three didn't happen. So I'm sat here doing this for myself and to really express why I'm doing it. Because maybe when you do things for free, people think it's because either you have nothing better to do or your time doesn't matter and your time has no worth. I'm sure that isn't always the reason. However, the first person didn't turn up, and then I've messaged and emailed and received no response at all. The second, while I was on my journey back, sent a message saying that they weren't very well. At least I had time then to plan, because during my journey back home so that I could do these Pat Chats, I actually made other arrangements for 3 o'clock. The person at 4 o'clock didn't turn up, and I then messaged and got an email back saying I've been delayed at the office. I then had another one basically saying, could we rearrange? That was at 4:15. By which time I've obviously been planning for this. I've arranged my whole day around it. This has been planned, or all of these have been planned for a while, so I haven't put anything else in my diary. For those that know what I do, I also work as a medium. And my mediumship, I charge £30 for 30 minutes. And people will come, have readings with me. It's all done online, and get lovely messages from their loved ones that confirm to them that there is life after death. Not everybody needs to believe that or agree with it. That's absolutely fine. I'm not trying to push it on anybody, but that is actually part of what I do. What I also do is help people plan for end of life. I work with people for their loved ones. Currently, a client, we recently had a £10,000 invoice quashed for care fees. We're also working to get £16,000 refunded for overpaid care fees. I'm also working with somebody else who's got lasting power of attorney for somebody, and there has been a big time gap between when this LPA came into place and now actually working with the LPA. We found 5 pensions so far. We believe that's it. We believe that's all of them, but this was not known. And unfortunately, a lot of their emails and Dropbox accounts have lapsed. And currently we're fighting to actually get back access to them. But with one, such as a Tiscali email, which was taken over by TalkTalk, who announced to everybody through the Tiscali email that they needed to move over, that those emails were going to be stopped. And so that has now happened. So they don't, currently this family doesn't have access to photos or information about this person because they've left it too long before doing anything about it. These are just a couple of examples. I work with different people looking at different things that they want to plan for, looking at people's funerals, looking at, again, I was helping somebody with considering their wills only yesterday, looking at they want to move, they're moving out of the country, how that will work, what they will need to look at in their will. Basically, if they die overseas, then what would happen here? Would they expect people to go out there for their funeral? So we look at all of the scenarios and go through them so that they can then have that plan in place when they go to their families and say, this is what I've decided, or this is what I would like. Because having these discussions with family can be really quite difficult when people don't want to talk about you dying. That's part of what I do. I also had a company that traded internationally. I own intellectual property, and I also had an intellectual property company. So through that, I do consultancy with different companies, and I can go in and I can look at their current procedures, give them some help, advice, talk to their teams, see what's actually going on within the company, and I help with that. I also have shares and involvement in a company called Warwick Street Studios. And Warwick Street Studios has a little robot called Tark. Now, Tark is the creation of Scott Harris, who's my business partner, and he's a fantastic artist. And when I met with Scott for the first time, it was because I wanted to have his character for some of my end-of-life work. Those conversations went on. At that time, Tark the robot was being drawn on canvases. I wanted it digitally for what I was looking at. Since then, Tark the robot has been drawn digitally and is now on mugs and bags and baby grows, and we're in talks with a book publisher, brand licensing, licensing agreements from when we went to brand licensing exhibition. So I've come along and helped him organize his intellectual property and then basically see how we can sell it. So I have quite a few things going on in my life, most of which are relating to businesses and certainly towards end of life and wanting to help with that, because even Tark the robot was one of the reasons I got involved, was because Tark spread such love and beauty into the world, and I also use him within the end of life work. What I don't do is sit here with non-valuable time waiting to do pat chats, but I love them. I love doing the pet chats. I love speaking to people about end of life. That's my dog snoring in the background. Tiny little thing, but still snores very loudly. So apologies if you could hear that. But I love talking about the end of life. I really enjoy the work that I do, and I give an awful lot of my time for free to people to try and help, because it's what I'm passionate about. It's what I want to do. However, it's still very difficult when I've arranged my day, my week. I haven't booked in any mediumship. I haven't booked in any planning ahead of time clients. I haven't booked in any business consultancy so that I can have an afternoon doing 3 pat chats for 3 people to promote themselves, and none were available or able to do it. And I didn't find out until this afternoon. So it's given me the chance to maybe talk a little bit about what I do. And I hope that people who maybe see this either come to me and say, we would like to do a pat chat with you. We would like to speak to you about the end of life services that we do and be on some of the groups that you have. And if anybody's interested to talk about the mediumship, there was a pat chat done recently with myself and another medium, Nikki Warrilow, where we spoke about some of the work that we do, and they can be found on Planning Ahead of Time. It's a Facebook group, and then End of Lifers is the Facebook group for anybody who is in end of life services. My name is Dayle Adams. My company is also Planning Ahead of Time, and if you'd like to speak to me about any of what I do, then please contact me through Facebook, or my email address is hello@Dayle, spelled Dayle, Adams.com. Thank you very much.